Hey and welcome to this jazz standard lesson on Miles Davis's iconic composition, So What. I'm going to show you some cool chord voicings in fourths that you really need to get the character of this song, and we'll talk a little bit about why this is a Dorian modal composition. I'll also show you the Dorian scale and get into how to create ideas with it. Here's a chart on the screen. It's a 32 AABA form, and as you can see there's not many chords, making it a fantastic song for you to work on your improv on and creating your own ideas over. The first section all just uses D minor or D minor 7, and so that's 16 bars of that, and then we got 8 bars going up to E flat minor, so it's like a temporary key change, well, E flat Dorian, and then back to D flat minor, or D Dorian for the final A section. Now what makes this composition Dorian? So for that whole A section we just use D minor or D minor 7 or other fancy voicings, which we'll get to in a bit. But why? Why not just in D minor? Why is it not in D minor? It's regarded as being in Dorian because of the melody. That note. The third note of the melody, which is a B, a 6, in relation to the D. So the melody is composed with the Dorian scale, this scale, rather than the typical minor mode that you might use to compose something with, which is the Aeolian mode or natural minor, which has a B flat or flat 6 in it. That note. So Dorian and Aeolian. So it's you know, one note different between those scales, but you know the melody comes from the Dorian, so we treat it as a Dorian composition. So, you know, we'd look at this piece really, and the A sections are in D Dorian, and the B sections in E flat Dorian, which will just take that idea up a fret. So the melody of this song uses this call and response, and this is the chord voicing you needed in the rhythm section. So it alternates between, when you're playing the head, E minor 11 and D minor 11. Why do these chords sound weird? Because of the intervals they're made up of. So this, let's take the D minor 11 first. So this goes D, G, C, F, A. So it's got a root, 4th or 11th, 7th, flat 7 that is, minor 3rd, and A the 5th. So the reason it sounds cool is the distance between the notes. D to G is a 4th, G to C is a 4th, C to F is a 4th, and then on the top we've got a 3rd, F to A. So, I mean, listen to, if I just miss off the A off the top, like a D minor sound, but it's not like a normal D minor sound. And this 4th interval, it's quite an angular interval. If I play a Dorian scale in fourths, you can kind of hear, you know, it's a bit different. You know, if you play it in thirds, it sounds a lot more like we're used to hearing the scale we played. So when you're playing the head, you want to find those two chords. The bass player in this instance plays the melody, and then the rhythm section goes. And for the B section, you just keep doing that for the A section, and then when it moves to the B section, just shift it up a fret, and you get F minor 11 to E flat minor 11. So that's all the chords you need for the A section. But if you were playing rhythm for someone, you know, and you got D minor 7 or that D minor shape while someone's soloing over it, you don't want to be just going like, or with 16 bars and then up there, you're going to get very, very bored of that. So depending on the kind of personnel you've got with you, playing with you, it's quite nice to take this D Dorian scale and harmonise it, go up the scale in fourths. So I'll show you how to do that. So if we go back to that D minor 11 shape, so let's just ignore the E string note, and we're just going to play the we're going to play A, D, G, B strings. Now, if we take the Dorian scale, which is D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and what we're going to do is build chords in fourths. So we're going to go D, then go to the 4th note, G, then go a 4th way from there, C, and then 4th way from there, F. If we then move to the 2nd note of the scale, E, we're going to do the same thing. E, and then count 4 along, next note is A, 4 along is D, 4 along is G. This is in the same way that you harmonise the C major scale, going like C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7. We're just doing the same thing but with Dorian. So we get this, and in fourths rather than thirds. So we get this. So E, A, D, G. Then we get F, B, E, A, G, C, F, B, A, D, G, C, B, E, A, D, C, F, B, E, and then we're back to where we started, but an octave higher. So we get. And we could do this on the D string, on the top 4 strings as well. So that's cool. I like that one. That sounds really tense. So if we had a D minor 7 going, we could move between them, you know, like. Could have chromatically approach. So I put a D minor on in the background and we could just try some of those chords over the top. So we'll approach that from the semitone beneath. There's just the 2 chords from the head. Branch out to the 1 bit of F. Yeah, all sort of that way, and then we could do the ones on the D string, as I said. Where are you on this one? So that's how I would treat playing if I was playing, you know, comping over it. I wouldn't be like da 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 da, because it just doesn't suit that kind of song. For me personally, it wants to be kind of more interesting, more character, and I think you get that through this. And they all work, those chords, because all of the notes are from the scale or from the key, so it all fits together. It's just making it sort of resolve back to that D. You then need to move everything up. Turn that off. Move everything up a semitone to be able to work out comping ideas, shapes for the E flat minor section. And further things you could do: ditch the B string, say with the first group we used, and just have 3 notes. Sorry. Which sounds quite odd, but that kind of suits for someone to. You might play, like I said, moving around like that, or sustained chords, you know. You know, that would be quite cool to create movement over what is a very stagnant thing otherwise. Because you see D minor 7, but what is in D minor 7? D minor 7 to some people is just that, maybe, and then it's that. But for me, you can harmonise so much from that. You can build a chord, a triad off every note, which we'll get onto in the next lesson. Now let's get onto some basic ideas for soloing. So just keeping it really simple, we could just use Dorian. You could use things like the blues scale and D minor pentatonic as well, if that's easier for you, but you know, given that it's a modal song, I think it would be nice to use the Dorian, so let's go. And this is obviously the very vanilla basic choice. So we've got D Dorian, and the character of that mode is that natural 6 there, so D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Move it up a semitone, E flat Dorian. The character's still in the same place, the intervals are the same, it's just everything's a fret higher, then a semitone higher. And what I would do is get used to these in 1 octave positions on the neck, so D on the E string, A string, D string, you could do it fret 12 or open, G. And then you can, you know, get used to those and then connect them together, rather than thinking of having to learn the entire neck. And if you want to tap into stuff you already know, if you know the C major scale, D Dorian is the C major scale, but starting from D. So instead of going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, we're going D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. I know it's the same set of notes, some people find that confusing, but if you shift everything up and start on the D, the notes which become the root 3rd and 5th and 7th are different than where if you start on C. And the intervals are actually different. got a D minor 11 going on in the background. Let's just play those scales first. Sing it. Descend it. Let's not start on the root, let's start on the third. Go down. It's a bit more interesting, isn't it? So I started on the third, then went to the second, then down to the root, then up the scale as normal. Start on the fifth and go down. Start on the fifth, go down, then go back up. That's cool. Let's find the triad. So D minor. And you'd have to do all the same for E flat minor, E flat Dorian. You could play that in different ways. Start on the third, then go to the fifth, third root, fifth. Start on the fifth, fifth root, third, fifth, third root. Add the seventh. Let's do it down. Da 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 da. C A F D. Let's go 5 1 3 7. 3 1 7 5. So we're instantly creating different things that are less stagnant. Like this. This is just it's fine, but we want to do more than that. Let's add the ninth on the top. Da, 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 da. Could add the third then on top. Da, 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 da. So it's going D F A C E F E. I love that sound of a ninth. It's just beautiful. Descend it. Then put the ninth in on the way down. Da, 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 da. So putting the E there as well. That's a very cliche jazz phrase, but it's good nonetheless. Let's add the 11th on the top, maybe. So that's a G on the top. That's going 11, 9. These are all really pretty sounds. And the next thing I'd possibly do is, chromatic approach. We could do. So that's approaching the what do you call it? The root. Semitone beneath. Approach the third. Approach the fifth. Just a semitone beneath that fifth. Approach the seventh. So I'm just always going a semitone beneath. Just a bit more interesting than da 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 da. Try and hear ideas from that scale. Play it on one string. I'm sure you'll be, this will restrict you, but you'll find ideas. Challenging, but it's a really good way to practice. So that's a basic introduction to So What. You've got those nice fourth chords to get used to just for playing to the head, so or for the B section. Then you've got the harmonized Dorian scale in fourth, going up the neck, starting on the A string and the D string, trying to use it as accompaniment. Put the record on, try and play along, and just try and float about and see what they sound like, which ones you like the sound of, and how to use them rhythmically. Then, backing track or playing along to the track itself, just get used to the Dorian, be able to play it without too much effort, thought, internalize the sound, sing the notes. Find the triad with the 7th, maybe add the 9th, add the 11th, add the 9th and 11th. Chromatic approach notes, try and play on one string, hear phrases, play musically, responding phrases to each other. It can start very simply and lead to something really musical. Anyway, the PDFs from today, resources from today, available on my website, jazzguitarwithandy.com, link in the description. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. In my next lesson, I will cover how to get some extra sounds out of that Dorian scale over So What. Anyway, see you next time.